Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaylin and welcome to another video. I wanted to talk about something that I hear all over YouTube, all over Instagram. There's always a guru talking about this, is standards. You know, I hear all this talk about what you should do, what you should accept, what you should not accept, having standards, not, lowering your standards. But how do you even create them in the first place? Like, there's a lot of copy and paste things that people tell you should do, but how do you create standards that are unique and aligned to you? Because every single woman is different and every single woman needs and desires different things in a romantic relationship. So, taking in an opinion is good and all, but isn't it better to be able to find your authentic and aligned truth and then be able to stand 10 toes down on that instead of just, trying to uphold standards that someone else gave to you? I feel like that just makes more sense, and my approach has never been cookie cutter because I respect the unique blueprint of every single person's soul here on earth, and I want to encourage that. So I got this idea because right now I'm working on a course, basically like a mini course where I do a deep dive into this topic about standards, about dating, especially online dating, because I know that's how a majority of people are finding people nowadays. So that's going to be the focus of that course, and really how to find aligned matches. Okay, when we have so many options, so many different apps, and just like endless flipping back and forth, I think it's so important to not waste your time and only spend your time with those who are aligned to your desires, your standards, and newsflash, to guys who actually like you. Because some guys will talk to you, they will entertain you just for their entertainment, and you have to be able to recognize that. And yeah, it's very important because our time is precious, and if you're investing your time in anyone, the chances need to be high of it working out in your favor. So yeah, that course will be released within the next month. Of course, I will announce it to my YouTube community. I will also announce it on Instagram. And I'm very excited for it because already I'm creating the outline and I'm just filling in the juice, really seeing, what comes on my heart to tell you, little tidbits that just, do quantum leaps in your thinking, changing your standards, and really anchoring it in so that you believe them and are strong enough to uphold them. All that is going to be packed into this course, and the price is just going to be too sweet to miss out on. So I'm super excited for you guys to have access to that. So leave comments if you want me to email you personally whenever the course comes out. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram to see the announcement when I do post it. Okay, so now into the video. So, like I said, everyone has an opinion on standards and such, and it's important that yours are unique to you and they actually align with your desires. So, where I'd like to start in this process is, first of all, identifying your past relationships. And I know you're like, Shaylin, I thought we're looking forward. I thought we're looking, to connect with future matches, but bear with me. We need to look at your past relationships, the things that you accepted in the past, patterns that came up in the past, maybe why you broke up in past relationship, and that's gonna kind of set the baseline for what we're building, because it's important to see what worked and what didn't. Whatever worked and whatever you like, well, now you know that that's something that you want to keep and something that you want to see in a future partner. And if something was missing, if there was just a glaring hole in, something that you needed in a past relationship, and that may have even led, to the end of that relationship, well, now we need to know what that is so that we can set a standard for, the new people that come in your life. And I'm going to say this once. Actually, maybe I'll say it 15,000 times too, because it's so important. But every single relationship, one that ends and the next one that you begin, it needs to be a step up.
Be your own boss. Love yourself. Level up.
2, 1, level up. Okay? I vouch for a couple steps up, but every relationship, it should be better than the last one. You should be leveling up every time a relationship ends or you break up. You should be moving up. You should never be moving down, okay? That needs not to be said. You shouldn't even be moving parallel, across. You should always be leveling up. Every breakup is an opportunity for you to choose better, for you to accept. Okay, so my camera just died. As I was saying, every relationship that you end and when you enter the next one, it should most definitely be a level up. And I feel like that's just something that you need to promise yourself. Like, that's a pretty solid promise to make to yourself, because if you just got out of a relationship, there are so many lessons that you learned. Like, I never think of relationships as a waste of time, because there's always something to take away. There's always something that you learn about yourself, that you learn about other people, that you can take and use to make the next relationship even better, even more beneficial, even more nourishing, even more, just cohesive than the last. So always remember that there's lessons in ended relationships, and always remember to reflect and extract the value. Because, just breaking up with someone and then being sad and then just like kind of moving on with your life, yeah, that's kind of a waste of time. But if you actually take the time to reflect and see what your needs are, what needs were met, what needs weren't met, well, now you have lessons that are valuable, lessons that are worth those months, years that you're in that relationship. Okay? And the great thing about this as well is that as you move through life and you continually upgrade your relationships, when you finally do decide to get married or you decide to settle down, if you ever do, then now you have a history of upholding your standards, choosing yourself, being able to communicate your standards, because you're going to have to do that at some point. Communicating, embodying, and upholding your standards over time. So when you finally do get to that relationship where you're committed to that person, you have been able to identify and choose healthy people, and that'll just lead to a more harmonious and fulfilling long-term relationship. So that's invaluable. Okay, next thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to keep this video very short because I want to keep it nice and potent. The next thing is that one thing that we have to accept is that when we choose standards, whether, they're average, and I'm talking about like, oh, I require a man to show his affection rather than just talk about it. I expect my man to respect me, respect my time, be honest with me, not accepting lies, and he's, able to be trustworthy. Oh, he has to do this for me. Whether that's, just showing acts of kindness, or he takes something off your plate, every month, that he does things to make your life easier and more enjoyable. What sacrifices do you expect him to make? How do you expect him to treat you? What do you desire from a relationship? What type of relationship are you looking to have? All these things kind of go under the umbrella of standards. It's basically, what are your non-negotiables? What are your nice to haves? And again, refer back to my video on Loveless, because that's going to help you even more. But right now we're just going to focus on standards in this video. And the thing is, when you decide to change, or mainly when you choose to raise your standards to a level that is, I'd say, above average, because nothing's too much, because there's no really such thing as too much when it comes to a woman's desire, because what one man will not do, another one will gladly. It's really, are you willing to wait? Do you have the patience and the confidence to reject anything that is not that, and to wait and recognize what is that, what is a match for your ideal, desires? And you have to understand that when you do this and you make it apparent up front, yes, I'm going to tell you right now, you may get less matches. You may receive less attention. And this is for particularly particularly for my ladies who like to, you know, show that up front, who like to show that in the way that they walk, they talk. Maybe even there's little hints on their profile that communicate that, you know, you're not just accepting anything that walks through the door. You may get less matches, and that's going to be from the men who are deselecting themselves voluntarily because they clearly see that you are of a certain caliber, and they know deep down that they are not going to put in the effort to reach that, or that for whatever reason they don't think that they have to or should, and that is none of your business. That is literally the most compassionate thing a man can do, is deselect himself when he knows that he cannot reach your standards. Realize that there is nothing wrong with that, that it is a gift. At all times, you have to remember that your time and energy is precious. So when a man deselects himself because he sees that he is not a match, that is the kindest thing that he can do, and you should be grateful. So you have to not look at it like, oh, you know, I'm unliked, or, you know, I'm not receiving as much attention as I do in the past. You just have to realize that what that is. You yourself are deselecting a mass number of men because they're not able to rise to that level, and you're focusing your energy and attention on those men who can. Okay, we're focusing our energy on the men who can, not the men who cannot or do not want to. So you have to be okay. And that's another reason why the base level to all this is just confidence and self-love. I'd like to add, just because, well, I feel like some things go without saying, but I'd also like to add that in the meantime, or just in the time, really, there's no meantime. You're not waiting for something to come and fulfill you. But even in that time, you should be upholding the standards that you have for yourself. There should be no cliffhanger or gap in the way that you treat yourself just because you're either in or out of a relationship. You know, whether someone's doing that for you or you're doing it for yourself, you should maintain the standards that you are expecting of someone else for yourself. When you have lower standards, you'll get more matches, you'll get more attention. When you raise your standards and stand on business with them, you are gonna get fewer matches, but those matches are gonna be of a higher quality. So you have to decide right now in this video, going forward, are you going to value attention and quantity over results and quality people who are gonna give you what you want? Is attention and validation more important to you? No judgment here. Or do you value having your needs and desires met and being in a relationship where both people feel lucky to be there, where you feel lucky and cherished to be in that relationship? Because I can promise you that there is no better feeling than being present and appreciated and valued, and having that being shown in the way that you desire for it to be shown to you. So satisfying. 10 out of 10, would recommend, and that's why I'm making this video, okay? Yeah, so that was short and juicy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Watch it again. If you are still left with some thoughts, watch this video again, because I promise everything that I said is relevant to building your standards and, you know, maintaining them to get your desired results. And also, ladies, I did just make a video. I think I made a video. Let me see. Okay, yes. So, ladies, actually, after you finish this video, go watch my other video. It's called Dating Can Be Hard, Let Me Make It Easier. And then I go a little bit more in depth on how to filter out, you know, people online, how to make it easier. I'm going to tag that above. Also, you can just find it on my profile. I think I posted it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So go and watch that, and that's going to be some more tips on online dating and how to get better aligned matches. And yeah, in this video, I just really wanted to zero in on creating standards that are unique for you and the benefit of doing so, and just realizing what it's gonna look like, what you're gonna have to give up, aka attention and validation from random men who weren't gonna satisfy you anyway, in order to get what you want, to get your desires, to get your ideal relationships. So that is all for this video. Thank you for sticking around to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.